I've been playing with Calibur's latest operators at max rank, and honestly, they slap. Today I want to take a look at all the new stuff I got to play with, some of my favorite loadouts for this game, and why Calibur hits the sweet spot of accessibility and tactical gameplay. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Calibur, it is a free-to-play tactical squad-based third-person shooter that offers dozens of operators to choose from across 4 classes: Assault, Support, Medic, and Marksman. Assaults are the damage dealers, tankier classes. Supports use heavier weapons like machine guns to suppress targets, and Marksmans act as long-range snipers and intel gatherers for their team. Each operator has a unique loadout and abilities with their own progression tree, and it really is one of those games where you can dig into a specific class and just keep experimenting with new or different builds for hours and hours. Now, the developers were kind enough to sponsor this look at Calibur, and I just wanted to give them a huge thank you. And since the last time I played Calibur, the devs have added a ton of new stuff to the game, with the latest event offering a battle pass with 4 separate chapters. At the end of each chapter, you can unlock a new operator for the new BOPE faction. And the cool thing about this system is that if you're, an assault main, you can just spend your time ranking up through the assault operators chapter. You don't have to spend your time unlocking stuff for classes that you don't play as much if you don't want to. And if you, say, miss the battle pass this time around, the new operators will eventually become available to unlock free via gameplay in just a few months. So you can get early access to them now via the battle pass, or just wait to get them later. And clearly the devs have been having a bit of fun with their content. While unlocking everything, I stumbled across an execution animation that's basically just slapping your opponent to death, and of course I put it on all the operators that I like to play. And like most things in Calibur, fully unlocking and leveling up operators does take time, but it tends to go faster as you progress, since new challenges get unlocked as you level up, and you also earn XP boosts and other aids to speed things up further. It honestly feels like a very fair system, and I actually like that I could just unlock the operators that seem appealing to me, rather than having to go in a specific sequence. Now that said, it does take time to play around with all of the operators, and for this video the devs gave me a press account to let me just check out whatever I wanted, so of course I had to collect them all. I leveled up all 4 of the new BOPE operators to their max ranks, which unlocks their entire skill tree, and my 2 favorite operators from this new update were the Support and Medic. The Support gets a hard-hitting LMG, and their ability upgrades multiply the damage of their hit by 4% when shooting enemies through cover with his sieve ability active. Normally there's a pretty big damage penalty for shooting through cover, but this perk combined with a 200 round magazine can inflict some serious damage to some building campers. It definitely opens up a few new ways to approach the game for me. His pistol also has a few abilities that do interesting things. Landing shots on enemies can give you damage resistance, and eliminating an enemy will reduce recoil and increase accuracy for up to 5 seconds. Now, despite there being a fairly extensive ranking and upgrade system to the game, the devs have also paid a lot of attention to the balance. Even playing with like a fully maxed out operator, I never felt like I had a huge advantage over other players, and I never felt like I was doing significantly better compared to just playing on my base account without any boosts. And this, of course, is a fundamentally important thing to have in a game to make sure that it doesn't become, well, pay to win, which I'm happy to say that Calibur doesn't feel that way. Now, the new BOPE Medic comes with a pneumatic ampule launcher that's a dual-purpose healing gadget that also hurts enemies. With upgraded abilities, it can actually give your downed teammates extra time to get revived, and also poison enemies to deal some damage over time. It's basically like a mini poison grenade launcher with upgrades that make it a solid backup weapon. I used it several times to weaken enemies or discourage them from engaging me so that I could get closer with the shotgun. Now, the Assault and Marksman operators mostly get the usual kind of health and stamina boost with a few spicier abilities mixed in, and generally everything in Calibur is a finite resource, so it's worth looking at even the basic upgrades. Those can be some of the most important. Your health, stamina, armor, and ammo all need to be replenished manually, either via the rearming items that you bring into a match, or the various crates spread across the maps. Even a minor boost like extra ammo or resources can have a huge impact on your performance over the course of a game. And speaking of those crate pickups, something that I didn't play around with too much last time I played, but I'm really glad that I did this time, is the temporary abilities that spawn in the game's TDM mode called Annihilation. Some of these abilities are like the typical ammo and gear refills or an instant revive, but one of them is called Bullet Rain, and it is another story entirely. Picking this one up gives you unlimited ammo and a 50% increase to fire rate for 12 seconds. On its own, this double barrel shotgun is great for clearing rooms, but being able to mow someone down like a freight train without having to reload is so much more fun. Yeah, when combining this with the proper weapon, it can get pretty crazy. But that's the cool thing about Caliber. The enemy team knows that I picked up this ability, and they know when I activate it. And while it's particularly devastating with a shotgun, I still have to actually get close enough to use it. And everyone has a chance of getting it themselves, but it is quite nice when you get it in the perfect situation. Now again, in my previous video I talked about how the third person view works so well in Caliber, and I kind of feel like I need to reiterate that again because it really is something that took me by surprise. Thanks to the meticulous map design and class design, the amount of cheese that you can employ with corner peeking is massively minimized, and the gameplay becomes far more tactical than honestly a lot of traditional shooter games that I play. The cover and pushing mechanics are extremely well defined and a great example of how to do third person right. Now there is one thing that I hope the devs consider adding in the future. You might have noticed that a lot of the game's visual aids like the highlighted enemies and damage indicators are missing from the gameplay compared to my previous video. This is on purpose. I went in and manually turned all of this stuff off. And with them off, Caliber actually feels far more tactical, and it really didn't come with much of a disadvantage. I hope the devs consider adding an option that lets you disable the entire HUD one day, or maybe make a mode built around it. The operators, environments, and weapons all look really good in this game, and a more tactical mode that strips the HUD out and lets you focus more on gunplay could be really cool. Anyway, Caliber really is a unique experience, one that brings back a mostly forgotten style of shooter games, and it does it right. It's free to play. I'll leave a link to the game in the video description. It's definitely worth checking out in my opinion. Let me know if you're playing the game and what operators you enjoy playing in the comments, and I'll try and test those ones out next. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.